Today, we'll be scoring the Murphy versus Evloev fight. A fairly controversial decision. A lot of people were going back and forth saying Lerone won, should have been a draw, or Movsar won. So there's a few different options. But really the only talking point out of this weekend, it was a pretty dull card outside of people saying MVP should be cut. It's a little harsh, but before we get into the scoring, I want to talk about these people on TikTok and Instagram and these comments. And wow, these guys are dumb. So I made a video after the fight. I'm like, Movsar won that? I thought they would have probably given it to Lerone if it was a 48-46, just because of the way the fight was going. It's in London, stuff like that. I never said I thought Lerone won. I said I thought it was a draw. I didn't think Lerone won 3 rounds. I didn't think Movsar won 4 rounds. But I was glad that Movsar won because we need a decisive decision. It's a number 1 contender fight. It's a main event. And we don't want Gene Silva getting the title shot yet. I want him to get one soon. Just one more win, but not yet. And people took that, oh, you definitely had Lerone on your scorecards, oh, or your parlay. You were listening to the judges, bro. Not the judges, the commentators. You were dumb. You're casual. Blah, blah, blah. You hate Dagestanis. I'm like, shut up, bro. Like, or you hate Russians. It's like, dude, I didn't say any of that, bro. Like, I didn't even show any bias in the clip. I was like, well, whatever. So let's look at the first initial scorecard. 2 judges gave it round 1 to Movsar, 1 to Murphy, and then the rest was round 2 to Murphy, round 3, 4, and 5 to Movsar on all the judges' scorecards. So pretty consistent throughout, except for that round 1, which I believe is the closest round, in my opinion, especially watching it back. So let's go to my initial thoughts. My initial thoughts, round 1 was very close to Murphy. Round 2 was close, but it went to Murphy. Round 3 was close, but to Movsar. Round 4 was pretty clear Movsar, and round 5 was the clearest to Movsar. So overall score was 48-47 in favor of Movsar, but of course 47-47 with the point deduction, which that one is a little iffy to me because it wasn't too bad low blows. You know, like the first one was the second one wasn't that bad either, and Murphy kind of stepped into it. It wasn't like intentional or bad. It wasn't like a full kick straight up in the nuts. So I thought it was a little iffy, especially because the magnitude of the fight, number 1 contender fight, main event. You know, it's not terrible though because I think we should punish fouls. But in a fight like this, maybe give them one more chance because it wasn't like a fight altering like an eye poke or something, or like a back of the head shot. You know what I mean? Just a low blow. And after some thought, I did agree with the decision to give Movsar the win, and I felt he was a better fighter over 5 rounds. So let's see if my thoughts still stand, because I did see people saying the rationale for giving him round 1. But let's look at the official judging criteria. You can pause to read this. I'm going to give you my kind of summary and interpretation of this judging criteria. This is the official one, by the way. So my interpretation is, first, effective striking. It's impact and effective strikes. So we'll get to that in a second. Then there's effective grappling. So it's takedowns, sub-attempts, getting dominant positions, and reversals. That's what effective grappling is. And effective aggressiveness is making attempts to finish a fight. So for example, Murphy or Movsar getting very aggressive at the end of the third and trying to finish the fight. And control of the octagon is who is dictating the pace, place, and position, which I feel that's honestly not a great metric to score a fight because it is a part of the criteria, so we are going to talk about it a little bit. But I feel it's honestly not a good way because some fighters just fight on the back foot. You know, like any counter strikers, like a Izzy sometimes, like Murphy, he fights on the back foot and he can still win these fights. And 3 and 4, the effective aggressiveness and control of the octagon are not used unless 1 and 2 are even. So we'll see that especially the first couple of rounds, first 2-3 rounds, and 1 and 2 are actually scored equally. So effective striking and grappling are scored equally. Now let's get into more of it. Impact is swelling or lacerations. So like cuts, blood, swelling of the eye, and then diminishing energy, confidence, abilities, and spirit of the opponent. That's what impact means. So those impactful strikes is creating swelling, lacerations, and of course the bigger, more damaging strikes. That what impact and effective strikes is. So if you wobble your opponent, put him off balance, things like that make for effective, impactful striking. Then we have dominance. Another term used here. It's in striking. It's losing fighter is forced to continually defend with no counters or reaction when there's openings. So just there's openings and you're kind of just defending, you're shelling up because you're getting your ass beat. And then in grappling, it's fighter getting dominant positions and trying to get subs or ground and pound, which we'll see Movsar do a very good job of that in this fight, the 4th and 5th round, when he really implements his game plan because of that point take from the groin shots or the nut shots. And One note that I made was holding dominant positions is not a primary factor in asserting dominance. So example, Hamzat, maybe Islam, Shevchenko, stuff like that. And the losing fighter must be in defense mode even with aggressive positional changes. Which that is another part of dominance. There could be aggressive positional changes that could still count as dominance, but it can't be just holding dominant positions. So that's something interesting for future fights. Because I did see someone make a video, honestly, on DDP winning the 5th round against Hamzat because he was just more aggressive. He was trying to finish the fight, landing better strikes on the feet, while Hamzat was just kind of holding position. And they get stood up. So that's one thing to take into account here. And duration is time spent effectively attacking, controlling, and impacting their opponent. So kind of like aggressiveness. It's also while the opponent offers not much output offensively. So getting put on the back foot, you're not really striking or countering, things like that. And it's the relative time in the round when a fighter takes and maintains control of effective offense. So just who's more active on the front foot, things like that, and controlling the fight. So basically back to that point of control of the octagon. You got aggressiveness as dominance, and then effective grappling. So you see it's effective striking, grappling is number 1. Then you got aggressiveness is number 3, which is making attempts to finish a fight, and then control of the octagon, who's dictating the pace and position. These are when 1 and 2 are very, very equal. So now on to round 1. Based on this criteria, I put Movsar 10-9. I was going off effective striking originally, but since it was so even, which you see it's 14-11, that's very even. It's only 3 strikes. It's not a big number. It's like when people were saying Steel Grano was dominating Tom Aspinall. He was 100% beating Tom. When looking at the numbers, it's only 3 strikes, but of course he bloodied him up, things like that. The striking was very even, like I said. Murphy landed some nice kicks overall and a nice 1-2 throughout the round. He landed a big right hand early. Movsar landed well throughout as well. He had a front kick that pushed Lerone back and also landed a nice left and right hand. Those were the bigger shots. And I put the bigger shots in parentheses throughout the round and gave a little summary of how they did. There was no grappling. There was not really any aggressiveness, but the control of the octagon went to Movsar. He was on the front foot tracking for a majority of the round, backing Lerone up, which is something I don't like that Lerone does. He backs up way too much, and I felt if Movsar was really trying to wrestle from the jump, he could have dominated this fight like he did in the later rounds. I know Lerone injured his hip. We'll get to that in a second. But Lerone backs up and squares himself up. It's just not a good look on his part. And based on that, because the striking I thought was very even, no one landed huge shots, but Movsar landed better in my opinion when he landed big. There wasn't big shots, but like the front kick that pushed Lerone back to the fence, landed a nice left and right hand, and Murphy only landed a big right hand early in the fight. Thought it was pretty even, so I went to grappling wasn't there, aggressiveness wasn't really there, and then control of the octagon. Movsar was in the front foot tracking the majority of the fight, the majority of the round. So I gave him this round 10-9. Super close round. You could definitely give it to Lerone. It could have went either way. This is why originally watching it, I thought Murphy might have won it because he did land early. Maybe the commentary did sway me a little bit because they were being biased this whole fight, like a lot. Especially Bisping, bro. Like, terrible. Even Felder a little bit. But I gave it to him because of that control of the octagon. He was really on the front foot, tracking him the whole time, backing him up. So round 1 of Movsar, that's 10-9. Then round 2, I gave it to Lerone, 10-9, so it's 19-19. The striking was even, but I gave the edge to Lerone. Lerone was much more active, landed better. He had nice kicks, overall body, low kicks, and then also had nice body work. He landed 2 nice right hands, a left hook, and a few low kicks, honestly, that were pretty. Those were the most significant strikes I saw that had the most impact. And Movsar didn't land as impactful, honestly. He landed 1 good overhand throughout this round. He kept the striking pretty close. It was 24-17, so a bigger gap than the last round. And Movsar again was on the front foot tracking for the majority. Again, the same thing over and over in every single round, basically. So I gave this one. I think the striking was even, but Lerone was actually a little more aggressive in this round on the front foot, a little more, throwing some more, and landing more of a gap than the first round. So I gave it to Lerone. I think this was the clearest round for him, and I think it was a clear round, Lerone. There's some guy on Instagram that like glazes all these Russian fighters, and he's like, I had a Movsar 5-0, and bro, it's so bad. This guy is on I see him on almost all these posts about Russians, and if there's someone hating or not even hating, but he'd just be disagreeing or having a critique of one of these fighters. He's in there defending them like his life depends on it. And in his bio, it has like ex-feminist and shit. The guy seems like a weirdo. He commented on one of my videos too the other day where I said something. What did I say? But I don't know. These people were dumb as fuck. There's some. I said something. What did I say? What video was that? I don't know, but he was just saying some dumb shit, bro. So that was round 2. So it's 19-19 going into the third. I give the third like a lot of people gave Movsar 10-9. So Mays 29-28 first 3 rounds. I thought the striking was very even. There was actually a lot of exchanges here where they were like did like a 2-3 punch combo, 4-punch combo, and they both landed very well. They were both pretty even. There was a few. If you go back and watch the third round, there's a lot. This is like the most exchanges where they're in the center and just throwing hands. Like there's a few of them like that. I thought LeBron landed nice jabs, and more overall, he was mixing it up well. He landed one big knee, which led to a Movsar takedown, but he didn't do anything with it. But he did get a successful takedown. And Movsar was keeping it close with the body kicks and right hands. He did land actually more from the numbers. You see the numbers here, 26-23 in favor of Movsar. When I was watching, it didn't seem like he landed it more, but that's what the stats show. He landed a big right hand, which started the flurry where he cut Lerone open. So that's where the aggressiveness comes in. The end of a round flurry from Movsar. He was super aggressive. Looked like he was trying to get a finish. And of course, Movsar in the front foot, tracking for the majority, control of octagon. So Movsar basically won all the categories of this. Obviously, it's not a 10-8, but he just, not one-sided, but it was a more clear round for Movsar. Still close. I thought Lerone was winning till the end of the flurry. That's when I say Lerone was landing more overall. It was till that flurry, basically, because Movsar landed like 5-6 strikes there. Maybe Lerone landed, I think, 1 counter. So, again, striking, grappling goes to Movsar, and then if you even go down to aggressiveness, Movsar, control octagon, Movsar. And some other notes, there was a low blow here. Not really a bad one, honestly. It was a quick back to fighting. Then round 4, Movsar 9-9, of course, because of point deduction. So it has a 38-37 going into this round. Did I add that properly? Yeah, because 9 now. Okay, yeah. So striking, Movsar kind of locked in after that point deduction because it came early. Lerone did land it well to keep close. He landed a nice right and a nice left hand throughout this round. Movsar had also similar striking to how he's been doing, mixing up with the kicks, the hands, pretty well, landing nothing crazy. But he did stumble Murphy with the jab, which is the biggest shot of the round. And he also got multiple takedowns. As you can see, he got 3 and got some big ground and pound off when he was down there. So again, another component of the grappling that makes it more to your side and you winning that round. Murphy did get up easily though, but still he got taken down multiple times, ground and pound. And then aggressiveness, I gave aggressiveness to Movsar here as well. I know we didn't have to go into it, but I just wanted to, because we already saw Movsar win the striking and the grappling. But aggressiveness, we go into that. I thought Movsar landed good ground and pound, and he looked very aggressive, trying to land big shots. And then control, Movsar on the front foot, tracking for the majority. Again, the same story. The other notes, looks to be where Murphy tore his hip flexor. Maybe that's why it's a bit more one-sided throughout this round and throughout the 5th. Toward the end of the fight, there was also a low blow here where the point was taken. It was definitely worse in the first, but not as bad. We already talked about this before, so I'm not going to get into that point take as much. But as we could see, Movsar did land much better, 30-16, and then had the takedowns, or 21-16 overall in terms of the 6 strikes. Now, for round 5, I gave this one to Movsar easy. I think that's the clearest round. It was a very decisive round for him. The 6 strikes are equal, but you have total strikes 40-12 here. Lerone did not land much for most of the round. I think the first 3 minutes he didn't really land much, and then landed 2 nice right hands and a left hand. Movsar landed nicely with his right throughout. I think this was like his best round using that right hand. He did a nice uppercut, some hooks, some overhands, but nothing really big, honestly. But he did land 5 takedowns out of 5 and landed ground and pound. He got dominant positions multiple times. So if you remember, we go back, getting dominant positions is a part of effective grappling. Murphy did have a harder time getting up, so it was even better grappling in this instance. Again, the aggressiveness came aggressive ground and pound from Movsar Evloev, and control of the octagon. Movsar was on the front foot, tracking for the majority, just like we did. Of course, like I said, we don't have to get into aggressive and control, but I just like to talk about that a little more to get Also to help my mind, but help your guys' mind if there's a super clear striking grappling round, or super even, I'm sorry, and you have to go to that aggressiveness and the control. That's how I interpreted it from the rule book. But yeah, I think this one was the clear Evloev round, the clearest one and the most dominant. I know some people were saying 10-8 to justify the Movsar win before the scorecards came out, and I guess if they thought he lost round one. So, yeah, I mean, pretty clear round for him, and that ends up scoring at 48-46 for Movsar Evloev. And in conclusion, I think it's either 48-46 for Movsar or a 47-47 draw. Either way, I don't think Lerone Murphy won this fight. Movsar was a better fighter for the majority of the fight. I'm glad he got this decision. He implemented his game plan better. Not so much for the first 3 rounds, but especially at 4 and 5. Better than Lerone did throughout the fight when in the rounds where it was more swayed toward him, like the first 3. And he had the bigger moments too, Movsar. End of round 3 flurry and the majority of round 4 and 5, especially round 5 when he got I think he got 3-4 takedowns in a row, just mat return and stuff like that. And then I felt the decisive decision was needed. Like I said, it was a main event, which isn't the biggest key for this, why it should be a decisive decision, but more so a title eliminator, especially when the conditions around it, where Movsar's on a 9-fight win streak. It's 2 big undefeated guys. One of them gets a title shot. Volk's been calling them both out. And then you have a guy, Gene Silva, who might get it. If it was a draw, Gene Silva would probably 100% get the title shot. But that's all I have for you. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's always cool going back and scoring fights, looking at it from a more analyst point of view, instead of a fan. Because when I watch fights, I look at it, I could see things there, as a content creator, analyst type of mind, where I'm looking at the technical side. But I don't really think about that as much when I'm watching it. I like to watch as a fan because I like to separate the content from the actual fights. I still get to know fighters and how they fight, what they're good at. But I like watching it as a fan as well. So I never really get burnt out, because you've seen people get burnt out. I almost got burnt out a while ago when I first started making picks, really good picks, especially on YouTube, right before YouTube. Just because I was taking notes while these guys are fighting. I'm oh, what did he do there? That's good. Oh, let's see did he do that throughout the fight? I'm just chill, bro. Just chill, man. So I do take notes, but after each round, so it's quick. That's what I could do for my recap, and then I put those notes into my Word document where I have the notes of all the fighters. So if I can't watch film, I could do a breakdown from that, and it's been doing pretty good. The past 2 cards, that's where I've done my breakdown with the notes. And honestly, I think I did a few fights wrong, nothing crazy. So yeah, that's my whole video for you guys tonight. See ya Wednesday or Thursday. Piper Izzy breakdown. I'm gonna do for my first breakdown video on YouTube where I'm breaking down one singular fight, and then I have the full picks Friday, of course. So